All right, let's cut through the noise. You've been dating, chatting, vibing, and now you're wondering, is he just into you or is he falling for you? Because let's be honest, we're not here to waste time with someone who's just enjoying the moment if what you want is something real. So how do you know if it's more than just chemistry? Well, there are 5 subtle but powerful questions a man will ask when he's not just interested. He's emotionally invested, and when he starts asking these, that's your signal. This guy's heart is opening up. Let's break it down one question at a time so you know exactly what to look for. When a man is falling in love, one of the clearest signs is that he begins to show a deep and genuine curiosity about your passions and goals. This goes far beyond polite small talk or surface level questions. It's not just about asking what you do or what hobbies you have. It's about wanting to understand why you love those things, how they make you feel, and where you see yourself going with them. It's the kind of curiosity that comes from emotional investment, from truly wanting to know who you are beneath the surface. Imagine you mentioned to him that you love writing or painting or running your own small business. A man who's just casually interested might nod and say that's cool, but a man who's falling in love will lean in. He'll ask what inspired you to start, what your biggest dreams are in that space, and what challenges you've faced along the way. He's not doing this to flatter you. He's trying to connect with you on a level that feels meaningful. Because when a man is falling in love, your purpose becomes part of his curiosity. He wants to know what drives you, what wakes you up in the morning, and what you hope for in the future. And this kind of interest isn't performative. It's not about impressing you, it's about discovering you. He might ask how you felt when you reached a milestone in your passion, or what your biggest fear is when it comes to chasing your dreams. He's not afraid of the vulnerable answers because he wants the real version of you. He wants to know what makes your eyes light up when you speak, and he remembers the little details you share. Maybe you told him once in passing that your dream was to open your own coffee shop. Weeks later, he sends you an article about someone who did just that, not because he had to, but because he was paying attention. Genuine curiosity also looks like support. He'll start to encourage you, ask about your progress, and be your quiet cheerleader, not in a grand or flashy way, but in those small, consistent actions. He'll be the one who asks how your meeting went, or whether you're feeling confident before your big presentation. He might challenge you too, not because he doubts you, but because he believes in what you're capable of. This is what emotional presence looks like. Someone who sees you, not only for who you are, but for who you're becoming. When a man is falling in love, he doesn't just admire your passion, he invests in understanding it. He starts asking questions that help him piece together your world. He wants to know what success means to you, what setbacks you've overcome, and what kind of legacy you want to leave. It's not about him inserting himself into your story right away. It's about him being genuinely interested in what your story is, with or without him. When a man begins to fall in love, his questions often take a more vulnerable turn, particularly around your past relationships and emotional experiences. This isn't about prying or being nosy. It's about understanding what shaped you, how you love, and how you've been loved or hurt in the past. A man who is emotionally invested doesn't shy away from these conversations. Instead, he approaches them with a mix of curiosity, respect, and empathy. He wants to know your emotional history, not to judge it, but to understand it. When he asks about your past relationships, he's not just looking for red flags or trying to measure himself against someone else. He wants to understand the kind of experiences that have mattered to you. He might ask what you learned from a breakup or what you valued most in a previous partner. He's not seeking gossip, he's searching for insight. He wants to know how your heart has been shaped, where your wounds are, and how he can show up differently, better, more intentionally. When a man is falling in love, your emotional blueprint becomes something he wants to learn, not something he avoids. And these questions often come from a place of emotional maturity. He might ask how you felt during difficult times in a relationship or how you've grown since then. He may ask what made you feel secure or what made you feel neglected. And when you answer, he listens, not just to your words, but to your emotions. He picks up on your tone, your body language, the hesitation or confidence in your voice, because he's not just collecting information, he's building a deeper emotional connection. It's also a way for him to open the door to his own vulnerability. When a man starts asking about your emotional past, it's often because he's preparing to share his own. He might reveal things he hasn't told many people, times he felt heartbroken, mistakes he regrets, moments he felt unseen. These mutual exchanges deepen intimacy. They show that he's not interested in just the highlight reel of your life. He wants the behind the scenes too, the struggles, the doubts, the turning points. These kinds of questions also reveal his emotional awareness. A man who asks, "What made you feel loved in your last relationship?" or "What hurt you the most?" is signaling that he wants to learn how to love you, not just how to be in a relationship in general. He's trying to understand your needs, your fears, and your desires on a deeper level. He's not afraid of your emotional complexity. In fact, he sees it as a map that helps him navigate toward a more meaningful connection with you. These conversations often come up naturally, not as a checklist, but as part of getting to know you fully. He may ask these questions late at night in quiet moments or when something reminds him of your earlier conversations. It's not about timing. It's about intention. He's showing you that your emotional truth matters to him, that your past isn't something to run from, but something he wants to understand as part of loving you fully. When a man is falling in love, he becomes increasingly interested in the small, seemingly mundane details of your everyday life. This is one of the most telling signs of genuine emotional investment. He begins to ask questions about how you spend your mornings, what your routines look like, how your day went, or even what you like to do when you're relaxing at home. These aren't filler questions or casual check-ins. They are a window into his growing desire to be a part of your daily reality and to connect with you on a consistent, grounded level. When he asks about your day, he's not just waiting for you to finish so he can start talking. He's paying attention. He wants to know how you felt during that stressful meeting at work, what you ordered at lunch, or what your best friend said during your coffee catch-up. He remembers the names of your co-workers, the project you've been working on, and even the little errands you needed to run. This is his way of weaving himself into the fabric of your life, not in an overwhelming or intrusive way, but in a way that says, "I see you. I care about the details that make up your world." This interest in your daily life also shows that he values you as a person, not just as a romantic prospect. He wants to understand your lifestyle, your habits, your patterns, because the more he knows about your reality, the more he can imagine sharing it with you. He might ask what time you usually wake up, what kind of coffee you like, or how you decompress after a long day. These may sound like simple questions, but they're layered with intention. They show that he's thinking long-term, envisioning what life with you would look like on a day-to-day basis. There's also a consistency in how he asks. It's not just a one-off moment of interest. It becomes a regular part of your conversations. He checks in, not because he feels obligated, but because he genuinely wants to know how you're doing. Over time, this kind of attentiveness creates a rhythm, a sense of emotional safety. You begin to feel that your life is being witnessed, that your experiences matter to someone in a way that feels steady and real. He may even ask questions about your routines, with a hint of playfulness or admiration. Maybe he teases you about always eating the same breakfast, or asks for a picture of your dog after you mention walking him every evening. These moments may seem light-hearted, but they're part of something deeper. His desire to know you intimately, to be included in the parts of your life that others might overlook. This type of interest can also lead him to make thoughtful gestures. If he knows you have a tough morning routine, he might send a message early to wish you luck, or check in later to see how things went. These aren't grand romantic moves, but they carry a quiet significance. They show that he's paying attention not just to what you say, but to how you live. When a man is falling in love, his conversations start to take on a future-oriented tone, especially with questions that subtly include himself in your life down the line. This shift doesn't usually happen abruptly. It's often gradual, hidden in questions that seem casual but carry emotional weight. Instead of just talking about the present moment, he begins to explore what the future might look like with you in it. These questions reflect not only curiosity, but also a desire to mentally and emotionally commit, even before anything is officially defined. He might begin with simple, exploratory questions like, would you ever want to live in another city? Or what kind of place do you see yourself settling down in? On the surface, these might seem like general questions about your preferences or lifestyle, but they're also ways for him to see how compatible your long-term visions are. He's trying to understand if your paths could realistically align, if your dreams could intertwine, and if there's room for him in your version of the future. He's no longer just dating for the moment, he's evaluating what it might mean to build something meaningful with you. Sometimes the questions become more specific. He may ask if you'd ever want kids, or what kind of family dynamics you value. He may wonder aloud how you decorate a house, or whether you prefer city life or something quieter. When these topics come up, they're not random. They signal that he's thinking ahead, imagining not just any future, but a future that involves both of you together. These are the types of questions that come from a place of emotional investment. They're reflective of someone who's beginning to plan, not in an overwhelming way, but in an exploratory, hopeful one. These questions might also show up in more personal ways, like asking if you'd want to travel somewhere together, spend a holiday with him, or attend an event that's weeks or months away. These aren't just invitations, they're small steps into shared planning. When a man starts talking in we language or envisions plans that include you without hesitation, it's because in his mind, you're already becoming a part of his longer-term picture. What makes these future-focused questions powerful is that they often come with emotional vulnerability. They require a level of trust because talking about the future opens up the possibility of rejection or misalignment. Yet he's willing to take that risk to ask those questions because knowing how you see the future matters to him. It's his way of emotionally investing, of saying, I'm not just here for now, I'm thinking about what's next. Even if the questions aren't directly about commitment, the tone shifts from what's temporary to what's sustainable. He may begin to speak in terms of us or refer to someday moments. He's not rushing you or pushing for decisions. He's letting his intentions show through curiosity. This kind of dialogue reveals more than words. It shows that his mind and heart are starting to project forward towards something real, something lasting. When a man is falling in love, one of the most revealing signs is his concern for your well-being and emotional state. He doesn't just want to know what's going on in your life, he wants to know how you're feeling about it. This shift from surface-level interest to emotional depth signals a growing attachment and care that goes beyond casual affection. He becomes tuned into your moods, your stresses, your highs and lows, and he actively seeks to understand and support you through them. You'll notice this when he asks questions like, how are you really doing today? Or, is there anything weighing on your mind lately? These aren't questions people typically ask unless they're emotionally connected. A man who is falling in love isn't just trying to maintain conversation. He's trying to create a safe emotional space for you to open up. He wants to be a person you can lean on, not just someone you have fun with when things are going well. His interest in your emotional state reflects a desire to protect, nurture, and understand the deeper layers of who you are. He pays attention when your tone changes, when your energy is off, or when something feels a little different about you. He asks about your stress at work, your relationships with family or friends, or how you're feeling after a rough day. Not because he's obligated to, but because it matters to him. He wants to help lighten your emotional load, even if he can't fix the situation. He shows up in small but meaningful ways, maybe sending a comforting message when he knows you have a tough day ahead, or calling to check on you just to hear your voice. There's a protective instinct that often comes with this kind of emotional concern. When a man is falling in love, he wants you to feel safe emotionally and physically. If he senses that you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or hurt, he doesn't dismiss it. He acknowledges it. He might say things like, "I hate that you're going through this," or "I wish I could take some of that stress off you." These expressions reveal his desire to be emotionally present, even when there's nothing tangible he can do. The mere act of showing that he cares becomes a form of emotional support. This concern for your well-being also reveals itself in how he responds to your vulnerability. When you open up about something that scares you, frustrates you, or makes you feel insecure, he doesn't pull away, he leans in. He reassures you, not by offering empty words, but by being consistent in his presence. He may follow up later, asking how you're feeling now, or remembering something you said days ago. That level of attentiveness isn't performative, it's genuine emotional investment. It shows he's holding space for your feelings, even when they're uncomfortable or complex. Even in playful or light-hearted moments, there's an underlying attentiveness to how you're doing. He may make you laugh when he senses you're down, or gently bring up a topic he knows has been on your mind. His questions become less about collecting facts and more about understanding your emotional experience. When a man is falling in love, he begins to ask questions that reflect a deep interest in your inner world. Your thoughts, your opinions, and your perspective. This is one of the clearest signs that he sees you as more than just someone he enjoys spending time with. He values how your mind works. He's not just listening to respond, he's listening to understand. These types of questions go beyond casual curiosity. They are about engaging with your beliefs, your values, and how you view the world. You'll notice that he starts asking questions that invite thoughtful conversation. He might ask, "What do you think about that situation?" or "How would you have handled that differently?" He's not testing you. He's trying to get closer to you by understanding how you think. This is a subtle but powerful sign of emotional investment. It shows that he's not just looking at who you are on the outside, he's interested in what's happening inside your head and heart. He wants to understand the lens through which you see life, because that lens matters to him. These conversations can happen in any setting. It could be while watching a movie, when he pauses to ask what you thought about a character's decision. It could be over dinner, when he asks how you'd handle a challenge he's facing at work. Or it could be late at night, when the conversation turns more philosophical, and he asks about your beliefs, your childhood, or how certain experiences shaped you. When he's falling for you, your voice starts to carry more weight in his mind. Your opinions begin to influence the way he sees things because he respects your perspective. This type of questioning also shows his willingness to grow. A man who's genuinely falling in love doesn't just want someone to agree with him. He welcomes your different views. He might challenge you, not out of defensiveness, but because he wants to explore your perspective. And he's open to having his own mind changed. He appreciates the way you think, even when it's different from his own. That kind of intellectual and emotional openness is a major indicator of deeper feelings. He's not afraid of meaningful conversation. He craves it with you. He may also ask about your values, what matters to you most, and how you make decisions. These aren't random questions. They come from his desire to understand if your core beliefs align. It's not always about agreement, but about compatibility. If he's considering something serious with you, he's naturally going to want to know how you view the big picture, relationships, life goals, personal growth, and even the little things that reveal who you are on a deeper level. The beauty of these questions is that they often appear in small moments. They're not always asked with grand gestures or dramatic flair. Sometimes they show up when you're talking about the news or a friend's situation or something you read in a book, but the intention behind them is consistent. He's asking because he cares about how you think, how you feel, and how you interpret the world around you.